the world know the truth. Expose the lies, study the bloodlines, the average and the feelings. Let the world know the truth. Expose the lies, study the bloodlines, the average and the drive. Before the Spanish, Dutch, and the British arrived, saying we was from Africa, stole the birthright. That's a trick move, something that a dirty war would do. Claim your nationality of the land, you get screwed. So we studied your background, your treaties you wrote. Fake as history, we ain't go over here on no boat. Frontin' like you indigenous to the land, you disgust me. Your tomahawk back in our hands is getting ugly. You run around screaming black crowd, cause the cells to the truth. Rivers filled with a blue and high hills. Native Americans but hurt, can't tell, cause they know damn well the trail of tears ain't real. Respect the Aborigine, this land is all you know, you all. You still a guest, motherfucker. I one little, two little, three little, young brown, society, killing them, telling me myself. I have one little, two little, three little, young brown, society, killing them, telling me myself. House nigga, real nigga, fake nigga, feel nigga. My skin ain't black, what the deal, nigga? Salute on my else, so that it's Aborigines, owners of the land and every goddamn tree and every goddamn sea. Invaders ever cross, step foot on the land, and you can step the fuck off. Breathe. You gon' make us swing the sacred tomahawk. Fucking around with us with that black conscious talk. Fake bricks of slave ships, that's the reference. Live with African blood, you gon' need more evidence. I'm American, Aboriginal, indigenous, Shibogi DNA test. That shit is rhetoric, stay woke. Aboriginal, get out. Your civil rights acts, all you can eat, big out. The Stockholm syndrome, make skits out. Phoenix Moon got the antidote, get that shit out. Meanwhile, rapping about my birthright, fuck a freestyle. Teach each man, each woman, each child. Black race, really Indians indeed now. Man, they indeed now. Honey, dog, title 18, D goes. Bills get big gold, but Phoenix and Beast Mode. Bring them up, big bros, out of the sleep mode. We ain't black, colors, Africans, or Negroes. One little, two little, three little, young brown, society, keep killing them, telling me myself. I have one little, two little, three little, young brown, society, keep killing them, telling me myself. Halito, to my truth, my beloveds. What's happening with you beautiful ones? So I had the pleasure of being asked to interview with Kobie Smith, and he is a ADOS member. I did do the interview. He's a very nice gentleman. Shout out to the brother. He was very courteous and respectful. But I was looking at the comments. So he did the video, and of course he edited it. It didn't go live. He posted the video last night. And I'm looking today and I'm seeing all the comments, and there's a lot of misinformed people, even with ADOS. Now, this is something that totally confuses me, because I'm going to go through the comments. And this is so I didn't have to keep sitting there replying to all the comments, and we'll answer the questions. I'm going to run through some of the comments that were there so that we can talk about it. So now there's some people, now these people are ADOS, and they're saying that they changed it to American descendants of slavery. Now the burden of proof still will also fall on them to prove that they were unlawfully enslaved during a time where slavery was legal. Also, they'll also have to prove how they became a slave, who they're kin to, right? Because you still got to prove kinship. Right? You still need a name to say you had my grandmother, Elizabeth Morton, enslaved. You need a name. You can't just take a story that your oppressor gave you and, just be all wonton, willy-nilly, and all over the place with it, because people are in their fields, right? So at the end of the day, I just want to go and let me shout out some of you beautiful ones in the chat. What's up, Yolanda Sanders? Hi, beloved. Bliss and Danielle. Master in Life, we got Duwanda Ferrier. What's up, baby? Louis Jones, I'm born here. Robbie, hey, beauty. How are you?
Michael Brown, what's up, Cheeks? What's happening, beloved? Good brother Dino, Gem Mohawk, what's happening with you, beloved? L. Austin, hey, beauty. Brother Lawrence, Jay Christoph, Lloyd Cardi, how you doing, beloved? Erwin Nutt, T God, what's happening? Corey, hi, baby, how are you? So now, this is the thing. They had a lot of questions, but again, it was just he and I interviewing. He did some editing. I don't really know exactly what he left out, but these people were really dissatisfied in some of the comments. There were some people that give me my props. And then let me just inform the people that have been in the battle groups debating at any point during the last 5 years. If you guys know Emil, he also did a show with Emil. Emil is my favorite Congo brother. He is very honest and truthful when it comes to the DNA. Now, this man is full-blood Congo, and he's telling the Pan-Africans that they are, basically waging war against Americans and also the Africans. And he has his view, and I'm looking to get an interview with him so he can explain in better detail why he feels the way he feels. And I absolutely do support that, what he's talking about. And that was triggered by the DNA thing. They always trying to get us to swab our cheeks and put our genetic matter inside of a Petri dish to determine that you may come from some sort of place where a specific group of people are, but they can't tell you who. They can't tell you when. They can't tell you how you got here. So you're still left with this vague, and DNA does explain that it's for entertainment purposes only. So if you are looking to find some sort of restitution or reparations, why would you want to rely on something that is there just to entertain you, right? You look at the legal definition for DNA, and the legal definition, reparations is a legal situation, right? When you look at what it is that they're asking for, I really ain't certain. But when you look at what it is that they're trying to say that they deserve reparations, you wouldn't have to prove who was enslaved. Let's start with that. That is really, really basic information. So if you are looking to do a legal action, you should know what the legal word is. And if DNA is going to be, something that you feel is going to be solid or solidify your case, that you can prove that you were some kidnapped African and that was brought here to America, you are going to have some serious problems, because the legal definition of DNA is to determine who is at a crime scene, the dead person and the perpetrator, right? Or the injured person and the perpetrator. But it also tells you that DNA is not going to stand up in a court of law when it comes to ancestry. Not paternity, not one generation of somebody that's still alive or closely related, because if a son dies and the woman says that she has a baby by somebody's son, then they can test that mother and, kind of establish the maternity or, the relationship in that regard. But outside of that, please tell me, who are they digging up over there? Who are they digging up? Did they go dig up King Tut? Did they go dig up Mansa Musa? Did they go dig up Shaka Zulu? Did they go dig up Queen Nzinga? Did they do that? Are they swabbing these dead bodies? Are they taking hair samples? Hair doesn't stop growing. Your nails don't start growing, even after you're dead and in the dirt. Who are they testing these people to prove relativity? They're just basically pointing them in a direction saying, you come from here. Okay? My next thing is, why they go so gung-ho over the DNA where it gives them percentages of this, percentages of that, and they still don't know where those percentages come from. How could you be 92% Nigerian? 10 generations from slavery later, 9 generations from slavery later, right? Then they they throwing in things like from 1619. If you think 45 million so-called Black people were just populated in the United States by 20 odd Negroes, I want you to understand 20 is an even number. Why do you think they said 20 odd Negroes? Because they come from different places geographically, primarily the Moors, the Berbers, those Corsairs. Those wars were going on during the time that they're saying they're beginning the transatlantic slave trade. How much credit are you giving these people? How much credit are you giving these people? So they can maintain slavery, keep sending different armies. They having all these skirmishes with all of these Indians in the interim of Africans excuse me, being upset that they're being kidnapped. You think they want to get out on some plantation and work next to some other dark-skinned people who were the Indians, right? I don't know how they want to make sense of this, but this is their argument, and this is where we defer, because I am all for people getting restitution. They definitely deserve some act right for the way that many of us have been treated in America. But I have to take a stance for American Indians, because those are the people that are from here. Those are the people that I descend from, right? So at this point, the burden of proof is going to certainly be on them. Now, I think that if they want to take on slavery, perhaps Mississippi is a more tangible feat that you can conquer, right? And the reason why I say that is because Mississippi just abolished slavery in 2013. Technically 1995, but it didn't officially take place until 2013. That's not that long ago, a short 7 years ago, and you can completely backtrack and figure out who was enslaved, because prisoners were enslaved, right? People on parole. You got that's the transportation, passengers, and then there's slaves, right? That's what's on the manifest. How come they do not use the manifest to prove that there was even a boat trip from any other continent to America? We hear the stories, but how does that pertain to you? Got to find out. You got to find out. I travel a lot. Mali, Monkabara. My grandfather worked for United Airlines, so we've been flying and going all over the world since we were small children. My parents probably got to travel a lot more than I did as a result of that. But my grandfather retired from United Airlines probably in the 70s. He retired from there. So I got to travel quite a bit. There's only probably 5 states that I haven't been to. And I'm actually looking to make that change too. I'd like to go to Montana. I'd like to go to Idaho. I'd like to go to Wyoming because I haven't been there. And I think that may be it. The only states that I haven't been to. So yeah, as far as that goes. I don't know what the relevance of that question was, but I was happy to answer it. Ken folks, what's up, beloved? What's happening, good brother? So I'm going to go into these comments and I'm going to debunk some of the stuff, because this is something. Hi, Ryan Gilliam. What's up, beloved? I have been to Utah. I've been to Salt Lake City a few times, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's pristine. It's super clean. Utah is absolutely beautiful. Specifically, Salt Lake. So let me pull this up so I could go through some of these comments. And you can see, you can't please all of the people. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not looking to please skin folk. I'm not looking to do that. I'm looking to liberate my people. I'm looking to inform my people. That is what I'm here for. All that other shit, those emotional attachments that people have, you can have that. They're yours to have, honey. I'm not trying to take that from you, but what you're not going to do is try and knock me off my 10 toes, because my stance is clear. I have my evidence. I have my facts. I have my proof. I have my truth. It just so happens that I've been doing this for a very long time, and I've been able to determine and ascertain exactly what happened to the hundreds of, maybe almost not thousands, but hundreds of people whose genealogy I have done over the course of the last 18 years. We have something very specific, and I'm not saying that this happens to everybody. Now, what I am going to say, let me just make this distinction, because this is fucked up. Because you have the Aboriginal community, right? And then you have the American Indian community. The Aboriginal community does shit like say that all Black people in America are, Indians, which is a fucking lie, right? And they also don't really support genealogy. They'll tell you genealogy, but you have these people that have these big platforms and they don't show you. They may show a picture talking about my grandfather, but them niggas don't give a name. They don't give a name. There's something about that. Why wouldn't you be transparent? I have no problem telling you about myself, about my past. It depends on what the topic is, but especially when we're getting there, I can definitely use myself, and I can use the others whom I've done their genealogy to support exactly what it is that I'm saying. So this win that we're going to get doesn't really apply to everybody else. And I also noticed that with the Aborigine community, they are only focusing on the 5 civilized tribes, as if other Indians didn't exist anywhere. They don't know about the Wabash. They don't know about the Illinois Confederacy. You can't find any information on any of the migratory patterns from Nova Scotia down back into Virginia. Nobody knows about the Iroquois and the Six Nations. They were primarily going to be the 5 civilized tribes that people now know as different tribes, which is Choctaw, Chickasaw, Seminole, Cherokee, and I think and Creek. Okay, even though Creek and Seminole are the same people, they're the same people. So, and they'd rather be called Muskogee, according to documentation that I showed a couple of videos back when I was talking about when I was showing those articles in antiquity that clearly express, and this is a public notice that the chief of the Muskogee Nation, it's probably back in the 1830s, had posted talking about the white man's jargon in their contracts, treaties, and letters, and how they never keep their word. They always add all this different, types of conversation lingo in there that is tricknology, and they were talking about the legalese and everything in this article. And this is the Muskogee telling them that we call ourselves the Muskogee, but you motherfuckers call us Creek. Okay. Oshio Tyrone, how you doing, beloved? So, now you have all of these things going on during the interim of what they're saying is slavery. A lot of people in those comments brought up 1619. 20 odd Negroes is what a lot of them think have sparked all of these beautiful copper colored people, right? And this is why it's so important, because some people absolutely do have African genealogy. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a lane for you and there's a place where you're supposed to be in order for you to get your act right too. It doesn't mean that you have to stand under this umbrella of the people that were misclassified erroneously, that can't prove, do not have any documentation of any African ancestry whatsoever. Right? And it seems to piss people off, because if you notice, they will tell you all life came from Africa, but you can't find a fucking polar bear there. And they mean that, but they mean all life came from Africa except for white people. So did they just fall from out the sky? You don't have any type of pilgrims in your ancestry at all. But they don't know, because they do DNA. They do DNA. And that's trippy, because there's no prototype for American DNA. So if everybody that they're calling Native Americans has Siberian DNA, who in the fuck has American DNA? Somebody tell me. I ain't tripping. I don't got to be a rocket scientist to know that that's some bunk. You got to have a prototype. If they're saying, hey, you Southwest African, it still narrows down a place. There would be people in South Africa that you'd be able to test. Who is from America if the Native Americans are from Siberia? So basically, America was just some barren land that nobody lived on. Is that what they're saying? Somebody tell me, how much sense does that make? Am I wrong? Has anybody heard of a prototype? Let me drop this in the chat, because anybody's welcome to come up here and chop it up with me. But tell me, where's the American prototype for DNA? Anybody? Does anybody know? Can someone inform me of what that is? Where's the American DNA? Does 23andMe talk about American DNA? What about Ancestry.com? Do they talk about American DNA? Who is from America? So nobody's from America, but somebody's from everywhere else in the world. Okay. If that works for y'all, that makes sense. If that works for y'all, that makes sense, I guess. To you, not to anybody in the eyes of the law. It's not going to make any sense. And it's not going to produce a win. It's going to produce an L, like it's been doing every time they go for reparations, because they don't have the story straight. They don't have their story straight. They have a story, but it's a story that your oppressor told you about your people, and he don't know your people. You don't know your people. How do you get to tell me who I am, and I'm back in the 1500s, right? Back in the 1500s. Tangible documentation. My birth certificate, my mama's birth certificate, my daddy's birth certificate, my granddaddy's birth certificate, my grandma's birth certificate, their parents' marriage certificates, birth certificates, death certificates, on and on and on. And then when you can't find the census records, right? Because not everybody was listed on the 1790 census, and not everybody was free, like the majority of my people were. But there's some other things, other factors that you must include. And those other sources are absolute jewels. They're in court records. They're in books on genealogy of first families in Virginia, first families in New York. You can trace your people back. You haven't taken the time to do it. Everybody's been studying themselves. I want to know, how do you think you can make a mockery out of me or shame me for studying myself when motherfuckers like Dr. John Henrik Clark, who's a fucking Indian, spent 40 years, better part of 40 years, telling you about another fucking motherland that ain't your motherland. It's the other land, but it ain't your motherland. And he wasn't even forthcoming about his own ancestry. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. So here it is. He tells you all this stuff about Africa, and all these other people have studied all these things, not pertinent to them, right? But here it goes me saying, hey, this shit don't jive right with me. Grandma, where y'all from? Where y'all from, Grandma? Oh, where was your grandmother from? Do you remember your grandma? Yeah, this comes from me probing and asking those questions, always in search of myself. So there's no shame, there's no jokes, no insults or anything that any of you motherfuckers can give me that's gonna make me be off my toes. I'm always gonna be 10 toes down, right? Because I took the last part of the last 20 years studying me. And now, as a result of that, I am able to ascertain and determine this is a lie, that's a motherfucking lie, that's a whole goddamn fabrication. I got the talking points. And I want to know, where are they getting invited to? Right? This isn't no shot to ADOS, but I want to know, where are you getting invited to? Who's telling you, well, we knew this day was coming? Have you been into Social Security where they're looking for a way to rectify Indians not taxed because it kind of just disappeared? There's so many things you don't know. And specifically, and I remember this name because I was cracking up. There's somebody named G. Scott, and I'll show the comments. Somebody named G. Scott. Beloved, you telling me that I don't read because Indian is not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution? First of all, Indians helped write the Constitution. Let's get that understood. Okay? We the people. Indians help write the Constitution. That's one. Number two, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3 says commerce to be regulated by foreign nations and along with Indian tribes. Who doesn't read? You don't read, baby. You don't read. So let's deal with that. So we have Lewis Jones here. Hey, beloved, let me add him. And I got the brother Tyrone Long. What's up, baby? How are you guys? How you doing today?
How you doing? I wanted to talk about that DNA thing that you were talking about.
Sure.
What they use for the standard of DNA is haplogroup Q, X, and 9 repeat allele. These are genetics that's shared with Mongolians and Eastern Europeans that they use as a standard for American Indian.
Right.
But on the other hand, they have haplogroup A, B, and C.
Wait a minute. Let me stop you right there. So they're using that for Native Americans specifically, but it doesn't have anything to do with America, correct?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Go ahead, Bo.
And then what they also use is haplogroup A, B, and C. One of our people, Albert Perry, he has haplogroup A, and he shares it with one of those isolated Brazilian tribes named Mayaruna.
Right.
He has the haplogroup A. He has Y chromosome Adam genes. So what they use for the standard of DNA is through Mongoloid Native Americans. And they don't have, like, when it comes to DNA, they don't have a nucleotide to determine race. All they can do is just use a Bering Strait theory to use as the face of America. They skip over the parts with Australoid dealing with the Lusia skull that says that Black Americans are actually Australoid. But Negroes don't want to claim Australoid because they see the primitive phenotype of Australian Aborigines with their brow bone. And they see that straight hair thing, and they don't want to claim those people as Black, but they want to claim all these other things overseas like Asians and Europeans, but they don't want to say, like, they came from right here. They're embarrassed of their indigenous culture over here. Like, you know them cats like Renoko Rashidi. He likes to claim all these other cultures in Asia, but he don't want to claim his own grandmother over here that said that he's Anuwaya Salagi, right?
I never knew that about him. You're telling me something. Every instance of this man I've seen, his whole fiber being.
You remember when we were on the A4 Facebook? He used to troll African Americans ain't African, right?
Yeah, he blocked me. That was quite a while ago.
And where these ADOS clowns come from, they stole their idea with Tariq Nasheed. They stole their foundational Black American ideology and ADOS ideology and the descendants of American slaves ideology from African Americans ain't African. They seen y'all talk about y'all Indian heritage, but they want to bring it all back to some Garveyite UNIA bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So essentially, do you agree that there's no American prototype for DNA? So how can they say who's from America? They can't.
There's none, because you got their own sign is like Kim Tallbear. She says there's no nucleotide for determining racial ancestry, and you can't use those DNA kits to determine if you're an Indian or from Africa or European or not.
Right.
You just can't.
Right.
And the science, with all this DNA shit, this African DNA shit, goes back to the African Burial Ground project and Howard University had over there in New York digging up the Manhattan burial ground, and they found some black folks in the Manhattan graves.
Right.
And so they turned these people, they basically made these Indian bones of Negroid people into Africans all out of nowhere.
Right. Of course. I get it. Hey, Lewis Jones, what's up, beloved?
Hey, how you doing? And to further add on to this little topic, and here's another monkey wrench thrown into this. Here's the interesting thing: if they say that the land was once whole, right, like the Pangea thing, right, and then a lot of it sank, right. So how do we know, since we only have pieces of the puzzle floating, that land we call Africa is where life started, if a great deal of it sank underwater?
Right.
And on top of that, let me add on that. Africa, they call their own shit Nawa, right? Gondwana. That used to be like something like when it used to be clumped up with South America and Asia and all that, right?
Mm-hmm. So at one point, I even heard Europe used to be considered part of Africa.
Yeah, the word Africa, that's a corporation.
Right.
That's the Greco-Romans. They came up with that word afar. The Phoenicians came up with the word afar. The Greeks and the Romans came up with the word Africa. That's Afrique.
Right.
Why are you still carrying the name from the Greco-Romans?
Right.
Another one is you calling yourself Nigerian and Ghanaian and all these other things. Those are corporations of the Europeans.
That is correct.
Using African names like
recently established corporations at that. Nigeria didn't exist 100 years ago. How can you have ancient DNA from a place that did not exist, right?
Yeah, and a lot of these guys, they got Sanskrit ass names.
And before I forget this, I like to ask questions, and I like to just even check to see if the thoughts running through my head have any relevance. But I was looking at the video of the Tuskegee Airmen, and I was listening to that name, right, Tuskegee, and I was like, that sounds Indian as heck, right? I go online, go to Google, and type in Tuskegee Indian, and there is a tribe. They say they don't know who it is, called Tuskegee Indian. You can go into Google, type it in the base, Tuskegee Indian, and I was like, oh yeah, there was Tuskegee Indian, but they don't know crap about it. Like, go straight onto Google, type in Tuskegee Indian, and some stuff will show up.
That's right.
And then the funny thing is, what is it? The Wakanda, that's a so-called Native American word. That mess was hilarious. When I typed that in and looked that mess up.
Yeah.
That's their word for God.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I started laughing.
Right.
Thinking how the Panther, what's his name, Caramel, showed a freaking video on that, like the Panthers come from America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the interesting thing about this, I am still on the very beginning of my journey to find out my records and whatnot. It's difficult, especially considering how I've grown up. You know, I'm a survivor of the whole system and whatnot, the group home system. Got out, so I'm, just starting. You know, you guys do great work. Everyone does great work, even though there's a lot of disagreements on all platforms. You guys, one thing I do gotta say, knowledge-wise, everyone has contributed, even though we have our own still uniqueness, a way of doing things. And one thing I've noticed that a lot of us fighting and whatnot, on whoever it applies to, it's the same old, same old. We were fighting over here when the Europeans came, and and then we got taken advantage of. And then no, we are all wrong.
Well, let me just make it very clear. I appreciate your comment. Let me just make it very clear. There's good side and there's evil, right? And anybody that is looking to have people purchase paperwork and packages and shit like that can end up and land them in jail, I have no problem shouting those people out because they're wrong, right?
That's part of the whole knowledge thing. Yeah.
I want people to know it's not ego. It's none of that. It was a lot of craft, a lot of shady shit going on. Right? Cult-like behavior, a lot of deception, a lot of stealing from people, right? That are at their wits' end and are looking to change their conditions. And I got a problem with that. I make no apologies for anybody that I was warring with, will war with, or beef with, because I give it up to pilgrims a whole lot worse. I've been really gentle and kind, even with my so-called enemies in this community, right? Even though. And I've been really kind to them because I'm really not that nice to my oppressors. Right? But because they are skin folk, I do cut them a little slack, even when I'm busting their head. Let me make that clear. They'll go for insult, and I'll go for the obvious that they don't want to talk about. That's right there in everybody's face, right? If you're fat, I'm not going to call you fat, but I will talk about your mustache being uneven, right?
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? You know you're fat already. Why would that bother you? You're used to that. I'm going to go for something that you thought you had. That's how you fight, period, right? So that's that. Now, again, with the ancestry, they're having a problem connecting those dots. Because if you think you're just going to stand under an umbrella and say, hey, we were slaves. Okay, well, prove it.
The real slaves are people from Europe. Those are the people from the Black Sea and the Black Forest.
Listen, I can prove
those that are real black people.
The Tudors, a lot of them were kicked out, and that is the people that are on these records for transportation. The legal word for transportation is parole. Okay?
And all this stuff is legal anyways.
They don't factor any of those legal terminologies. They don't factor in what exactly is a slave. They don't factor in what is a passenger. You got to look at those manifests. You never see them. Let me pull them up just so niggas know that they're out there. Stop lying like there's no record. You're lazy. You don't want to do that, and you trust your oppressive scholarship over your own common sense. There's a brother in the damn chat right now with the most beautiful goddamn screen name I've seen in a long time. Common sense over knowledge. Makes sense to me. And if it don't make sense, definitely can't make no dollars. It ain't gonna add up to nothing, right? So let me just pull up some of these manifests, because these niggas don't know what it is that they're looking for. They don't know what it is that they're looking at. And if we show them this shit, they still not gonna know what the fuck going on, because they're so delayed from listening to their oppressor tell them who it is that they are, instead of going to seek and find for themselves. And let me ask you, at the point where they would lose everything because so-called Black Americans know goddamn well that this is their land, this is their country, right? And everybody else is a guest and a visitor. Why would they tell you that? They didn't suppress the truth, because that could be an additional crime, but they don't spend the money telling you your truth. They spend the money telling you the lies about you. Do your own diligence, right? I'm not here to convince everybody that they're American Indian. I'm not here to convince everybody that they're not African. What I am going to tell you motherfuckers is find out who the fuck you really are. Find out who you are. What do you have to lose? You have everything to gain by knowing what your folks was doing in 1722. You have everything to gain by knowing what your folks were doing in 1840, right? What do you have to lose? You have everything to lose by just assuming that you are a kidnapped goddamn African or kidnapped some person coming to America and working for goddamn free. right?
Yeah, it's like here's the funny thing is like the reason why these ADOS and what is it the ones in the political arena haven't you noticed they're saying, oh, we were slave, but they haven't really pushed for the court because because if they push for the court they're gonna have to actually show documents and records,
The burden of proof is on them.
and the
Do
mess
they
is gonna
have some proof, or do they want to have the story? And then when the politicians tell you what time it is, when they tell the truth, people either dismiss it or they chalk it up. For instance, Donald Trump, Senator Durbin says, yeah, when he's talking about the chain migration, and he indicates that, well, the president shouldn't have said that because African Americans think that they came. Listen, African Americans think that they came to the United States in chains, right? And the
Yeah.
oh yeah, I remember that one.
he says, the president tells me, well, it was a great lie, wasn't it? It was fun while it lasted, right? That's a bit of truth. He's telling you, motherfuckers, you didn't come in chains anywhere. But they demonize the hell out of the people that tell the truth and love the ones that tell them a lie. Sell them all the water under the bridge, and that seems to be okay. It looks like they're very forgiving. That Christian, they act like they're not in the church, but that turning the other cheek, you turn the other cheek, and Kamala Harris is going to lock your son up. Joe Biden's going to tuck your husband up, tuck your husband away for the rest of his goddamn natural born life. Right?
I said you turn your cheek to the left, you might have a bullet exiting the right.
You ain't never lied about that. You ain't never lied about that. They still, like I said, selling people all the water under the bridge. Let's just deal with the fucking tangible. We could get paid, fuck reparations. We got a Holocaust that happened right here. And it just so happens that the courts have decided, world courts and the Supreme Court, genocide and ethnocide are the same goddamn thing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So why not? What do we have to lose? Did they not commit genocide by hiding our complete ancestry, history, and everything, and teaching us that we come from some people that we can't even fucking connect to? Right? Should they be so forgiving? And for the people that are related to these African nations, have you got to the bottom of why they sold your people?
Nope, they haven't figured out why the Maboon dude, the Loangos, the Zaires fell asleep and woke up in Congo.
In a whole nother country, right?
They haven't figured out why Akon fell asleep in Wagado Mande and woke up in Senegal.
This is it. They don't want to talk about that.
Look at
off the goddamn map. There's somebody that is my age, 46 years old, that was born in Zaire that no longer exists. So if they ever have to get a corrected birth certificate, it's not going to say Zaire. It's going to say Democratic Republic of Congo. So what you
haven't figured out how they fell asleep in the Joe Blyer River and woke up in Niger.
Right. Right. And they have a crest. And where does that crest for Niger? Where does the crest go to? Europe. Which one of you Africans claiming your European ancestry?
Nope, they don't like Europeans.
There's heraldry. There's heraldry even there. So where's your ancestors that are attached to that crest? There's heraldry involved with that. How do you fit in? You can't even insert yourself in anywhere in history except under a blanket story that your oppressor told you. How are you comfortable with that? How does that make sense? You got to make it make sense. And it doesn't make sense to me. And I know damn well it ain't going to make no sense to a judge or jury sitting here listening to these goddamn bullshit stories without any proof, truth, evidence, or facts.
And here's an interesting one. Tell me, would this be pretty funny to see or exciting to see for them to build one of those old so-called slave ships with no motor and just wind sails and attempt to sell it across the Atlantic Ocean?
I seen a post where they got like a toy Playmobil toy and sent it like across the Atlantic to the Caribbean and Africa. I don't know if this story is fabricated, but they had like these two little boys like drop their toy out in sea and test the transatlantic slave trade idea.
I'm talking about a real big life-size boat filled with
life-size boat. They can't make it across the ocean because of
treacherous
waves and all that.
I'm being ass. I want to see it though. I want to see it. I want to see them build something like that with no motor, like build the old school boat with wind sails and take that crap across the Atlantic Ocean. See where they end up.
1 second, I'm pulling up these the manifest so that I can show them. And this is for the beloved African brothers and sisters too. This should be helpful to you if you are in fact who you say you are, descendant of an African slave that may not have been kidnapped. Here is where you may want to start your search. You might want to work backwards. Start with your living relatives. Start with yourself, of course. Your living relative, and then go backwards. Work yourself back until the point where you can't figure out how the hell grandma and grandpa got here. There's no more descendants. It just stops right there. See, they get discouraged at 1870 when they hit that roadblock, not realizing that there are other sources that they're supposed to be using, right? So let's get to these manifests right here. Hold on 1 second.
And for example, you can look at my profile pic. You would see a lot of these Indians at the powwow dressed in West African garb, right?
I've seen some of those powwow videos.
Yes. Have you seen any of you people in this African garb though?
Yeah, that was weird to me.
Now these are this is like the most helpful thing right here. Let me do a screen share. So right now we're going to focus on inward and outward, and the outward manifest are just specifically your African slaves, and that door stops at 1808. Okay, because even when on the slavevoyages.org, which is the most comprehensive slave database in the world, indicates that they didn't even count those 16, 19, 20 odd Negroes, right? They didn't even count them. Not that they weren't important, but everybody knows about them. And guess where they were? In Jamestown with who? With my ancestors, right? With my ancestors. And then you still can't prove that those in 1619, they did not come from Africa. They came from London. Now, if you can figure out if they got from Africa to London and then from London to here, then hey, go for it. But if you can't, you should probably be quiet because you don't know. You can't prove it. It's not worth it.
Hey, Phoenix, those 20 odd Negroes are Pequot.
And not only that, those 20, that definitely could be the Pequot, but those 20 odd Negroes could also be free white people. Okay? Free white people. Think about it. In 1740, South Carolina, specifically in the Negro Act, when they say Negro, they are specifically talking about descendants of the Berbers. Okay? Who's a Berber? Who's a Moor? We got to go through this again. Where's your relativity? Where are these last names at? They should be these last names that indicate some sort of proximity as to where your origin comes from, right? Look at the slave ads. You look at the slave ads. Those ads don't have, when they're saying Joe Black ran away from Michael Tyler. If Michael Tyler is his owner, how come Joe doesn't have the last name Tyler? He has a whole different last name, a whole different company name, whole different surname that he's rocking out of. And that's the name that the public is in the public interest that they are looking for, right? You haven't wanted to. It's a public interest that they are looking for Joe Black. And they're saying he belongs to such and such because there's some sort of contract there. Not technically because he just owns this man. You can't just do that. You can own your children, right? There's a process to do that because technically they're wards of the state, right?
And
so here, go ahead.
And the interesting thing is about these names, right? Because I looked up the meaning behind both of my names. My first and last name, of course. Yeah, and it actually says the third on my birth certificate, which is interesting. It says my father is Lewis Jones, also has no middle name. And I'm trying to grab my mother and father's birth certificate to see who their parents were. It's a bit of a process due to how I've grown up and whatnot. But I'm trying to figure out the location, to basically get the proper forms and whatnot. Right. But Lewis actually means famous warrior. Jones means Yahweh has favor. And I'm sitting up there and I'm talking to you. I was like, you really think if I was a slave or if my ancestors were a slave, they're gonna name you famous warrior? Yahweh has favor. God has favor. Really?
Okay, let me get to these manifests. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys. Okay. So these are Pennsylvania slave records. Oh, but look, they say that there's no records. Here's South Africa, slaves and free black records, 1658 to 1835. Let me just show you guys. A little off, but just so they know, stop acting like there are no records, because there are. You may not know what it is that you're looking for. This is why you have to have all these different things to make this work. You have to have all these different sources. There's a lot of research on yourself and your ancestors, your tangible bloodline relatives that you have to do. None of you people know who my grandmother is, who she was, who my great-great-grandmother was. You can't name them. You don't get to speak for them because you don't know. And in most cases, if I didn't know exactly what it was that they were doing, I wouldn't get to speak for them either. I'd be speaking for them, but only on the strength that they're mine, not because I'm right. So there's that. But just so people know, South Africa birth and baptism records. So now you can guarantee that the free people here in South Africa, they have assimilated, more than likely, baptismal records, right? Where are they looking? They're not looking. And if they think that the people in South Africa, slaves and free blacks, they were documented heavily. How did you get to America? If they had free black people in Africa as they're kidnapping everybody to make them slaves, isn't that an indication that something's a little off, a little skewed with this? Right?
Yep.
Little skewed. They're saying there are no records, and here it is, South Africa, slaves and free blacks.
And those free blacks could be Asians from India. They could be Chinese people. They could be a white person.
Yep. So there's that. Give me 1 second. Let me.
And that slave ain't even denoting a race.
No, not really. All they did was just swap places with you. They got it from the Slavs.
And there's a lot of what we would call white people down in Africa.
Yep, Afrikaners.
How do we know that they weren't? Just saying, the slaves.
1 second, beloveds. So here's that. Now let's get to the United States, because that's really what the burden of proof is. But again, they insist that there's no records. Let's just go through some of these catalogs here. I love Ancestry.com. Family Search is bomb too. You have to use both sources as well in order to do that. I have several different trees, but I primarily will make my tree private, and I use Ancestry for that. I had one of my first tree on Family Search, and it was completely manipulated and ruined by people deleting some of the ancestors, right? There was one white guy that tried to tell me that I had the wrong ancestor when in fact he did. So he completely, and then when he saw my picture, he completely wanted to disassociate himself, and he deleted that ancestor. So they have to create a completely different family search number for that. So I don't suggest you keep your trees, the tree you care about. Maybe your starter kit tree for whatever reasons, but the tree you care about, don't put it on Family Search. Get the information, take your tree and compile it somewhere else. There's also offline sites that you can use as well. And the offline sites will house your tree. It's private until you give somebody the link. Certainly, there's where you can see it being built. It could be an edit only. So as you're building your tree, you can show your family what it is that's going on, so that they can see the progress, but not really be able to make any changes, because you're the one that sees these names, the repetition, the different cities and towns, different incorporations of cities, because they never moved. They were here in this one spot. Let's say Roanoke, Virginia. 10 years later, they incorporate another town. So that portion of Roanoke is now Snow Creek. It's called something else. They didn't move anywhere, but the boundaries changed. Again, with the fake borderlines and boundaries, they're all imaginary. You need to know when these places were established and incorporated. They tell us Indians come from India. Well, my grandmother's older than India. India just turned what? 1947, August 15th. They just had a birthday a couple of days ago. On August 15th of 1947 is when India was established. Prior to that, they were Hindustan, they were Bharat, and a bunch of other things. Okay, and they also called the Americas. They talked about the 3 Indies. Okay, so you have Hindustan, Bharat, you have North and South America. Okay, which includes the Caribbean. They even called Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and parts of Georgia and parts of Pennsylvania and Maryland the West Indies. Okay.
Damn, I didn't even know that shit.
Oh, yes, they did.
Yeah, that's interesting. Holy crap.
So let's get to.
Also, I found out that they used to call it Austral.
Absolutely. When you get to now, the good thing about family search is they're when you connect, they also stack them for you because they already have established trees that have the sources and things already attached to it. So what happens is if you put in a common ancestor, let's say 10 people are working on a Jones tree. We don't know that we're family, but if we're all working on the same ancestors and it populates, the information that has the most or that has the most added content to it, that is the one that is going to populate when it gives you information on family trees. Doesn't mean that it's always accurate. Specifically, that's why when you're doing genealogy, you don't want to just take on somebody else's tree because you see 4, 5, 10, 11 of your relatives there. You still have to meticulously study and make sure. There's a lot of deducing that you'll have to do, but you'll definitely have to find your own solid facts and sources or whatever to make sure that that is absolutely solid. So now here you have, let me make this a little bigger. So it starts with Pennsylvania County slave records, Chester County, Pennsylvania, slaves and indentured servants. I've never seen any of them looking at any of these records that they say they don't exist. But here it is that there's a lie. So this is why they're going to get scraped when they go into any courthouse because they don't have the facts, proof, evidence, and truth. You got to have that. How does it pertain to you? Right? You want to have it to where there's not a decade in U.S. history that you can't say what it is that your folks were doing. That's how this shit works. Whether people like it or not, it is a lot of work, but this is what it is. How bad do you want it? Do you want your liberties and freedoms protected or not? Because some people don't. And I understand that. And for the people that are very honest about it, hey, we don't know what we're fighting for, but we here. I respect that because you're not acting like there's something that you can contribute. And it's okay because as long as you're Indian, you're going to benefit from whatever it is that the rest of us get going. Right? Because it's for the people. It's not just for ourselves. It's for our progenitors. It's for the ones that are coming behind us. We stopped planning for 7 generations ahead, and that's where it stops. We are the ones that are breaking the generational curses, and we're looking to make sure that we transfer wealth, health, wellness, information, and ancestry to our progenitors. Okay? That's what's important. That's what's important. So you have South Africa slaves and free blacks. U.S. definitive lists of slaves and property. Edgefield, South Carolina slave records. Now, some of these records are just particular to a particular place. And look at the window, 1774, which is colonial, to 1866. So there were still slaves in 1866 after the emancipation. Why? And I bet you $1 to a donut. Those people were still under whatever contract it was that they signed when they couldn't read what it was that they were signing and didn't know what they were signing up for. 1866. It shouldn't have lasted that long past there, shouldn't it? Should it have?
Nope.
Right. So now you have Ohio marriages extracted from the Old Northwest Genealogical Quarterly. So there's tons of places where you can find this information. Different catalogs, different places. Sometimes it's not always going to be on Ancestry, and it's not going to always be on Family Search either. So here it is. You have Puerto Rico, Registro Central de Esclavos. Okay, so now I have also come across free people of color in Puerto Rico and other Spanish American countries, right, where they speak Spanish primarily. Washington, D.C. slave owner petitions from 1862 to 1863. U.S. Southeast coastwise, inward and outward slave manifest. So these are the ones that came in and out of the United States. This is what we're going to look for. Now I want you to look at what the catalog. I've done this before, but I'm going to do it again. This is this particular collection. This is what's within this catalog. So you have your Beaufort, South Carolina outward. These are all of your slaves or captives, Indians going out of the country, being exported out for whatever reason, right? Then you have the Charleston, South Carolina slave manifest. These are going to be your N-word. This is the people that were coming into South Carolina, okay? Foreign N-word. These are your Africans, your others that came from outside of the Americas, which are considered foreign, okay? Then you have Mobile, Alabama, inward coastwise slave manifest, Mobile, Alabama, outward coastwise. Coastwise, because they are going along the coast of the United States, not transatlantic, not trans-Pacific, not trans-Indian Ocean, right? Mobile, Alabama, outward coastwise slave manifest. Savannah, Georgia, inward coastwise slave manifest. Savannah, Georgia, outward coastwise slave manifest. Now I'm going to go to the foreign inward because look, this is what they're saying. These are the people that came in. I don't even have to put a name in because generally they didn't even have names. So if we just hit search, it'll populate the list and we'll just go and look randomly, right? Now, if they have someone that they have a name or something that they heard, then certainly that's where you want to start with that. If all you have is the name Sambo, no last name or anything like that, this is probably where you might want to look because they did maybe in most cases mention them by first name only. Let me see something. Okay, let me just put in A. I'll just put in a letter A just to generate. Okay. These are the slave manifests. I'm going to actually get this one up. So now here is the name of the person, the gender, estimated year of birth, the date that they left, arrival date, ship name, owner name, and here you get to view images. So let's look at a Corsair. So this male, estimated birth year about 1832, departure age May 3rd, 1853. So not only do you have, and he left Savannah, Georgia to arrive in Charleston, South Carolina. This is a slave. Does this mean this person is African? No, it does not. No, it does not. I don't want people to get too caught up in these cards right here because a lot of times you do have to edit them. They made different typographical errors, transcription errors as well. So it's always best to actually blow up the document and see for yourself. There's all sorts of ways that you can look at the document, even if some of the handwriting may be a little faint. You can change. You can invert the colors, for instance, so you can have the background black and it highlights what the signatures or what the penmanship is actually writing, okay? So sometimes it's easier. Certain documents, you will have to look at it in this particular view, this particular way, okay? So let me change it back, invert the colors back. Okay, so now these names, I really can't read that right now, but let's just say this person right here, WM, I don't know. Let's see. These are some of the names, Drella. Okay, here's one right here. Now, let me zoom out a little bit so I can capture this. Okay, boom. This is the guy who we put in, A. Corsilla. That's who I just put the A in, and this is the person. Clearly, he's a male. He's 21 years of age, and it has their height, 4'6", 5'6". This one's 6 feet, 5'4", and then A. Corsilla, Mr. Corsilla, is actually 6 feet tall. Okay. Talks about his class, black, yellow, right? That would be yellow. That's the ditto mark. That would be yellow. So this particular African was dark in color. Okay, BLK, that's absolutely black. All right, this one here is yellow. And then, of course, the ones that follow down, it gives their height. And look, these are all black people, so-called black in description, in visage, not necessarily by definition of the legal term for black, right? Yellow, they have this complexion as yellow. So that means all the following 4 people here on this manifest have yellow. They were high, light-skinned, light-complected people, okay? Owner of the ships. This person's name looks like Valdez. I'm not really certain what that says right now. Resident, Georgia. So all these people are from Georgia. Perhaps prisoners looking to go somewhere else, right? Perhaps they're looking for labor. Perhaps they work for this man and he just bought a plantation and he needs people to go out to Louisiana and go work. So, Slave Manifest, printed and sold by John M. Cooper and Company. Bound from Savannah, Georgia for Charleston. Okay? So those are the inward and outwards. Hold on, let's just go to another one just so. Now, of course, this is 1851, September 1851 to May 1853. Do you know why these are all domestic slave embarkations and disembarkations? Because slavery, African slavery, was no longer tolerated in the British colonies after 1808. Okay, so now let's just go. Boom. Let's hit this right here. Slavevoyages.org. I'm going to drop that link for the manifest too, so you guys can see. Hold on one second. If you have an Ancestry account and you put this link in, you'll be able to, you know, see for yourself at your own leisure. You can also get the link directly to the National Archives for inward and outward manifest as well. But this is via Ancestry. You'll find the same records in duplicate or perhaps triplicate through the National Archives as well. Okay, so I dropped that. So anybody that has an Ancestry account, when you click on that, you can definitely view and see all of those and within the catalog. And just for your own educational purposes, check it out for yourself and see what it's hitting for. Okay. Slave Voyages. This is slavevoyages.org. Let me just drop this link so that you guys be able to get to that. Let's see something. Drop this link also.
Dane Calloway showed a video of where they actually what's his name, Henry Louis Gates, actually now said, "Oh, there's like 92,000."
Before then, they said like 32,000, right?
Is it 32 now? Last time I saw,
before they said like 32,000. Then he said 92,000.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so here's your, let's just look at this here. Now, this, I specifically did transatlantic because I can do that. I'm going to show the intra-American slave trade, and you'll see the numbers are much larger as they are getting slaves from the Caribbean, from North, South, and Central America, just roundabout in circles. You know, they would have people going up and down the Mississippi River singing, "Row, row, row your boat," right? Life is but a dream. These things happened as a result of them. Now, this is where they start to plant the Reconstruction, the 1850s, where they're telling people that they're coming from where? Africa. So this is the transatlantic slave trade estimates. Now, these are embarked. So these are people. Embark is the people when you get on a ship. Disembark is when you get off a ship. So let's look at these numbers here. And these are the places where the slaves were imported from, where they left from: Spain and Uruguay, Portugal and Brazil, Great Britain, Netherlands, United States, France. You have Denmark and the Baltic area, and these are the totals here. So here's your 12 million slaves, right? But can you prove that 12 million slaves were African if they're coming from Spain? They got on a boat in Spain. They got on a boat in Portugal. They got on a boat in Great Britain, got on a boat in the Netherlands. They got on a boat in the United States, in France, in Denmark. Okay? These are the time periods. They do them in 25-year blocks. So from 1501 to 1525, 6,363 estimated slaves got on a boat in Spain for wherever unknown, parts unknown for now. Portugal had 7,000. Great Britain didn't import it, ship anybody out. Netherlands didn't ship anyone out. United States, no record. France, no record. Denmark and Baltic, no record. Then you have 1526 to 1550, 25,000, 25,000 for Portugal. Again, nothing for Great Britain, nothing for the Netherlands, nothing for the United States. Okay? Nothing for France, nothing for Denmark. Then you have this 1551 to 1575. You get 28,000 leaving from Spain, 31,000 leaving from Portugal, 1,600 from Great Britain. Again, nothing from Netherlands, United States. You got 66 people from France, 0 from Denmark. Okay?
Phoenix Moon, my apologies. I gotta skip out. It was I had a great time learning from you, and I'll watch the rest of the stream, after recording later. No, thank you for the opportunity to have me on, and you do great work, and those glasses make you look extremely smart. Well, you are, but
Thank you very much. Have a great day, Lewis. Thanks so much for stopping by. You take
Thanks
care.
for having me.
Yes. So now, again, you have, let's go back. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so here, 1,600 people in Great Britain. Again, no one in the Netherlands, not one person from the United States, but France shipped 66 people out of France as slaves. They got embarked on a ship and disembarked somewhere, right? Again, nothing for Denmark. And here you go. You have 1576 to 1600. And where about the US, the United States of America? 0 still. 1601 to 1625. Now, wouldn't that include those 20-odd Negroes that came to the United States? Where are they? If they named this 66 here in France, how come they wouldn't name the 20-odd Negroes here in the United States? So still.
So that's the line that they want to use to keep people in that paradigm of getting to Africa and all that other stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, so they discounted the 1619, the 20-odd Negroes, right? Because they were all primarily indentured here for transportation, right? So now here you go, 1626 to 1650. Now this is where the U.S. does have 824 people. It does not say exactly where it is that they came from, but the USA shipped out. People got on a ship in 1824 and went out. Okay, so let me backtrack, because when I talked about 1619, this is for the embarked. So let me correct that, because when I go to the disembarked, I'm going to go around and do the disembarked, and I'll show you who got off the slave ship in the United States. Okay, so I don't want to confuse that. I just looked up and see who actually got on a boat and left from these places. So 824 people were shipped out of the United States. Now, these are the times, this fits the time frame for King Philip's War, right? Where they were exporting the Indians. They sent King Philip and his family out to the Caribbean. They were exporting American Indians here that were engaging in different warfares with the original settlers, and they rounded up a lot of people and sent them elsewhere. Okay.
Oh yeah, the Keith War. They did that with William Keith up there in Manhattan.
Who?
William Keith.
I don't know.
The Keith War.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Fighting the Manhattan and all them. He shipped out some people out to the Caribbean.
Right, and that's generally where most of them went, with the exception of Pocahontas and the Indians in Commerce and Amity with the then colony of Britain, right? Because these are British colonies, French colonies, Spanish colonies, right? Again, where their burden of proof is also always going to be sketchy and skewed, because especially when you're talking about pre-colonial, King James was the king of Scotland, Ireland, France, Great Britain, right? So if you're the king of 3 places and you got these Indians siding with the French, and these Indians siding with the Spanish, and these Indians siding with the British, who are they talking about for real? Doesn't it sound like some just bullshit rigmarole? Because how can you be the king if I am the queen of the United States, Denmark, and the Netherlands, and there's all these stories of the Indians fighting with the Netherlands and the Indians fighting with Denmark, but I'm the queen of all 3 places. Wouldn't that be the same beef would just be with me, correct?
Yeah.
They got to be careful. They got to be careful. It doesn't take rocket scientists. I am not any type of rocket scientist. I just use my common sense and I research, and I know what it is that I'm reading, and I can articulate it specifically because I know exactly what the hell my folks were doing during these questionable times. Right? I hate even having to get into these conversations, but I end up having to have these teaching moments so that people can be aware. Stop coming for me if you ain't got your own shit together. Stop coming for the American Indians. I'm tired of y'all. I'm tired of y'all.
They're not using that smallpox lie.
Yeah, they're rather disrespectful. And not only that, they're ethnocidal and genocidal, the same as any white man that they're trying to blame by them trying to attack what I am, who I am, and how the fuck I stand in my position. It's no different. No different than with their colonizing attitude. I don't think that they realize that. And this is why I don't really dig and jive with the whole white supremacy thing, because there is a class of skin folk that feel that they want equality to white people so that they can do the same fucked up cool shit to us that white people are known to do too.
The Nazis had the honorary Aryans. They did as much worse as what white folks did than hey, you had like house Negroes over here selling out the people. You had Indians selling out the people, you know?
Give me 1 second. Let me 1 second here. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second.
Hey, is the screen on the slavevoyages.com?
Say that again.
The screen is on the family search. Is it on slavevoyages.com?
That's Slave Voyages, yes, .org. By Emory University is who created the site.
Indian slave records that they trying to do for a website similar to slavevoyages.com at Brown University.
1 second. 1 second. Give me 1 second. Okay. Now, what was that you were saying, brother?
I was asking the first one. What I was asking is the screen on the slavevoyages.com because it's still stuck on the southeast coast. Wise Inwood out.
I actually stopped it. I'm gonna go back to it right now.
All right. And the second one, have you heard of the Brown University Indian slave voyages that they're trying to do for like their own version of slavevoyages.com, but for Indian slaves?
Yes, I have. And also, I don't know if people are aware, John Jay also has a database on New York. Hey, sissy, what's funny? Looking so cute. Looks so cute. Hey, darling. Okay, so now we're gonna look at the disembarked. This is the moment these folks have been waiting for, or the moment that they dread, because they've been running with these stories and don't have the accurate spiel. How do you include yourself in these people? You better figure it out, because if you go to these pilgrims talking this other shit, you ain't got your shit together. Guess what? You ain't gonna get nothing, and you're probably gonna give it to the pilgrims. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because up to 1815, white people were also called Africans. Get it? This ain't my opinion. That's what the etymology say. You take it up with them in the plebiscites that produce that shit. Don't get mad at Moon. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the disembarked. This is probably the moment everybody's been waiting for. Let me see. Do I need to do the definition of embarked and disembarked just so that people are aware of what's happening?
Yes, you have to because they hard at hearing.
So the first screen that we were looking at is embarked. Go on board a ship, aircraft, or vehicle, or other vehicle. Put or take on board a ship or aircraft. Begin a course of action, especially one that is important or demanding. Okay, so there's your, that's what embarked mean. Now let's go to disembarked. Okay. Disembark, leave a ship, aircraft, or other vehicle. Period. Okay. So now this is disembarked. So these are the people that got off a ship in America. Again, in a 25-year block. So 1501 to 1525, 0 for America. I don't really have to go to these other countries. Let's just deal with the United States, okay? Because that's where all the questions lie. That's where all the confusion is. Let's clear it up. So 1501 to 1625. So again, here, disembarked. It doesn't even talk about the 20-odd Negroes that came in 1619. Doesn't even talk about them. It talks about them in books. It talks about them in different textbooks. It does talk about them in different legal documents, correspondence going back and forth to the British colony and back, certain governors, vice lords, and things of that nature. There's some correspondence in there, and they still will mention your ancestors in there, and they will also tell you a little bit about background of those said ancestors. So that's just shot out the dark. Stay off the 1619 because them 20-odd Negroes don't count. Let me make this bigger. You're probably gonna get mad. They're gonna get mad, but you know, get mad. Shit, the truth will make you mad, but it'll make you free. I forgot. That's Tazadak used to say that. It'll make you mad, but it'll make you free, and that's an absolute fact. So 1619, United States, 0. They didn't even count your 20-odd Negroes. So where's all these people? Who were the slaves working the tobacco plantations? Right?
The Indians.
Oh, say it again.
The Indians.
Oh, there you go. And then, for whatever reason, you got 824 people that came from 1626 to 1650 into the United States, right? But then, for the next 25 years, from 1651 to 1675, they ain't bring nobody. So did they run out of people to capture and bring over and work for free?
Because they already had millions at their disposal. Like, why in the heck would you go all the way over in some wilderness to capture some Africans when you already got millions of people in the land? And on top of that, you got your own white people up in Europe that you got as slaves.
That's
sending them out to the Barbary Coast, being slaves and to the Moors.
Yep, that's right. So now, flash forward from 1676 to 1700. Now, these are where the numbers increase. 3,327. Okay? Now, you can base this. I don't have to go through all the work. I've already done this doing my own research over the last 18 years. I don't have to go that far into it anymore. But I want to break this down so that you know where to look. So when you play this back, you can know. Now, let's just go from 1676 to 1700. 3,327 is the estimate. Okay, well, let's do a little math here, right here. Can you guys see the calculator? Okay.
I think the screen is still stuck on the U.S. Southeast coastwise inward.
Okay, so it's not going to show that. All right, well, let's just take you can do it on your phone. 3,327 people divided by 13 colonies. Okay. 3,027. So let me ask you guys. That would be 255 people per colony to distribute per colony. 3,327 divided by 13 colonies, 255 people per colony. I don't know, but there were millions.
That's not enough slaves.
Oh, Okay, I just want to hear somebody else say it because they get mad when I say it, but coming out your mouth, brother, it sounds so much better because you know they don't hate you, they hate Moon for this. I really don't know why, but this is the shit that I got to deal with. So the next block of time, it's a little less than the 327, the 3,327. So from the 1701 to 1725 window, 3,277. Now, here is where, in the next few years, where you have all of your Irish and all of them coming through Pennsylvania, the numbers increase. 1726 to 1750, you have 34,004 divided by all 13 colonies. Do the math. So you're saying within that 25-year block of, let's say, 1701 to 1725, 3,277 people got off a ship and disembarked in the United States, and they made the population of all the millions of people within the 13 colonies. Does that sound right?
But the white man was raping Africans, sister.
Oh, they got to get it together. Got to be quicker than that. You got 34,000 people, you know, and not to minimize whatever it is their plight is. But again, you have to, the burden of proof is going to be what? Slaves, laborers, passengers, transportation. Which out of these 34,004 people were on parole? Which out of these 34,004 people just said, hey, you know what? I heard it's popping over there. They got the best parties and shit going on in America. I'm going to save me some money. I'm going to take me a trip on over there and see what the hell they got going on. Which one of those people did that? Then you have your laborers. Shit, ain't no work out here. I'm tired of eating this shit. I heard they got a lot of good corn and potatoes over there in America. I'm finna go over there and find me a job. And I'll be going to November, baby. I'm going to go over here for a little while and see if we can get some land. I'll be back and send for you and the kids.
And you got people accused of being witches.
Oh, ridiculous. Right? Then you have your slave. Now, these are the people that was fighting over there, got their ass kicked, and instead of housing them in prison, you said, you know what? Oh, let me get some of those boots over there. I like the way they dress over there. I like them feathers and shit. Let me get some of those eagle feathers and shit. And I want you to take these motherfuckers with you. I'll trade you for these motherfucking pedophiles, and you do whatever it is you want to do with their asses. Take them the fuck up out of here. We don't want them here in our kingdom. Right? There was a slave trade. So if you think for shit, when it comes down to Liberia, you see what the African kings wanted. They wanted shoes, umbrellas, sugar, and rum.
They wanted that tobacco too.
So you know that there was some sort of trade. They had to get something to give something, right? Now, this does explain that General Stanton did put a gun to one of their heads. Don't know which African king that may have been, but we do know that happened. Okay, so there was some extortion going on, but the United States and the American Colonization Society purchased the land in West Africa where allegedly everybody's DNA comes from now. The people, Americans were placed over there in West Africa by the land purchase, and now today in 2020, a nigga swabs his mouth, and lo and behold, it's telling him that he has West African ancestry. But then there's some other factors going on here, because in the interim of that, you have a whole bunch of people from Africa, such as the Label tribe, that say what? Oh, we're not from here. We're not from here. We didn't come
from India.
We came from India. We came from
another one, Cameroonians. They carry a name that's from India too, like the Mabengai, they're Tamils. The Tamils even come out and say that they're actually from India.
Yes, right. That's right. So what are they talking about? Right now, currently, the 44th recognized tribe. Yes, because Africa recognizes tribes the same way the United States recognizes the Native Americans, that somehow these so-called Africans, African grannies, say that we're not. When we're saying we're not Native Americans, we're American Indians. They're having a hard time. But just interested, for your own viewing pleasure, check out the 44th tribe of Kenya. And they'll show you how the Hindus from India are a recognized tribe of protected motherfucking people in Kenya. Meanwhile, the original Kamba people, the natural people of that land, are not recognized, not protected, poor as fuck, getting circumcised, they get dog walked, just how they try to dog walk us here in America. Talk about it. Let's argue.
Another one of them, the Kobie. You got the Vibe people over there in Africa that they say like a Cherokee man named Austin Curtis deciphered their language into like a syllabary. Those people are Indians.
Yes. Yes.
All that is Sanskrit.
Yes. So let me go back to these manifests because they got some goddamn explaining to do, and they expect me to have every fucking answer for them when I'm telling them the answer is within you, little niggas. The answer is, who is your grandma? The answer, that is the question. That is the answer and the end all and be all. Because if you can explain what was done to your people in the last 400 years, then any oppressor ain't gonna do nothing but write a check and make it go away. I know what to tell these niggas. I don't know what they want. But if you don't
want them research, they see that gold, they see that lithium, they see that coltan, and they want that, but want to hold on to the victimization shit.
Victimhood, and then want to drag everybody else into the shit too.
Yeah, and the thing is, they not quick to run over here to Africa and tell them to come get them.
We're gonna have fun with these comments. Wait till you see these comments, and not all of them were distasteful or whatever, but a lot of them was ridiculously combative, for absolutely and aggressive for no goddamn reason. Don't be fucking mad at me because I took the liberty to find out who the fuck I am before I can really accept these goddamn bullshit stories that they told us. Why wouldn't I trust my own science? You got DNA? Yeah, that's science. But how can that shit trump the science of genealogy? Genealogy is also a science. Mama and daddy gave you science. Grandma and grandpa gave you science. Who can touch that shit? Who can touch it?
Nobody. And it's mostly these final battle clowns that keep being combative and selling our shit out to the Native Americans. And they don't know shit.
Right, and then you got the Aboriginals that side with these motherfuckers because they want to be Indian, but they ain't looking for their goddamn people neither. So they invite the Moors, they invite Hebrews, they invite everybody and their mother that says they're Indian into the camp, into the information. Then they got a whole bunch of different ideologies that ain't got shit to do with the Indian, ain't got shit to do with America. Ain't none of these niggas archaeologists, ain't none of them even travel nowhere. The one motherfuckers, these are Aboriginals. That's why I call them Aboriginals and not American Indians. There's a whole motherfucking difference. And it's why the community has to be separated and divided, because you got these bitches putting out wrong information. They show you a bunch of pictures, sit up there with 10 niggas for 12-hour lives talking a whole bunch of shit, showing you cute little pictures and shit like that. But where facts that's going to stand up in the court of law, right? They may not have it, but they cannot front on what it is that I bring. As far as the information, I don't have to make this shit up. I'm showing you what the sources say. All of this shit right here in slavevoyages.org contradicts any fucking McGraw-Hill textbook. Contradicts anything John Henry Clark was fucking talking about for the last 40 years, right? Yeah, these motherfuckers was talking about this shit right here. So Harvard University, Yale, all of the Ivy League schools know this information, teach this information, but a motherfucker don't know how to insert themselves into the goddamn narrative. Ain't that about a bitch?
They don't. They hold on to Alice Haley. That's all they know. They institutionalized.
They ain't been able to figure none of this shit out. This shit, they nothing but a bunch of smart dummies. Makes no sense. And I don't have the diction that they like. First of all, I don't work in customer service anymore, so I don't have to use my Becky voice. I don't have to do that. I work for my fucking self. So I can talk how I talk when I talk to my people, because I'm trying to relate to my people. I ain't trying to relate to nobody else's fucking audience that I am compelled to do so because I'm applied to a job for this place. I don't got to go through all that shit no more. So if you don't like the way I tell it, you don't like the way I kick it, Moon ain't begging nobody to be around. But if you want the raw truth, I ain't gonna sit there and baby you. I'm not gonna join in no goddamn victimhood and sit here and cry, oh, the white man. Yeah, they did do some shit, but nigga, what did you do? Or matter of fact, nigga, what didn't you do that sparked the creation of these motherfuckers really sitting there inserting themselves in every area that we were supposed to apply ourselves in? Can you be mad that only white people really running for Congress? No, you can't. Because a nigga think that that's the white people job and they supposed to get up and go work for a different corporation. They don't think that the corporation of America is any importance to fucking them. The United States is a fucking corporation. It's a company. And if you don't feel like you got stock in the company, what you here for? What you want?
Africa a corporation too. You gotta like sign over papers to get over there.
Talk about it. Talk about it. And they had to do that even in 1964 when they lost out on a free trip back to Africa. Because everybody from the 1700s, they didn't officially open the American Colonization Society until the 1800s, the bottom part of the 1800s. However, after the Revolutionary War, they sent people to Haiti, Sierra Leone, and also
they're trying to set up New Grenada. And the thing is, these Pan-Africans try to use that Memorandum 46 bullshit when they had plenty of time to go back to Africa beforehand.
A free trip. Marcus Garvey tried to get the niggas to go back too. And every time that they were flailing, and it was shout out to that bastard. It was his birthday yesterday, I think, too. And piece of shit, nigga. Marcus Garvey ain't no goddamn hero. That motherfucker. He was against my fucking people and trying to get motherfuckers to go to a land that didn't belong to them.
Same with the Cuffies. The Cuffies, original and Flavor Flav's ancestor.
Facts. So this motherfucker was cool with Cox. He was cool with Walter Plecker and all the other known people that have done everything in their power until the day they died to destroy our fucking identity. Drag Marcus Garvey ass through the motherfucking mud. The bitch couldn't get one person from Jamaica to follow him to the United goddamn States, but he was supposedly going to get 5 million Negroes to take their ass over to fucking Liberia with not one grandma over there to make them a dish of fufu. Get the fuck out of here.
Same with the Nation of Islam with Robert Poole and Malcolm X. They sat down with the Klan and negotiated a free Africa bill or some shit like that.
Right. Rather ridiculous. But let's just get to the bottom of it. Now I'm gonna go back to this right here. Let's look at these numbers. This is in the entire 350 years of known history of slavery in the United States. 305,326 people came into the United States. Now, let's take away let's just get rid of this chunk right here. Just get rid of these little small numbers right there that I highlighted. You can get rid of the 1850 and the 476. And I'm going to tell you why. Ignore that for a minute. Because this would be, let me put the cursor there. This right here. This would be your final number. At that point, no more Africans were coming into the United States. No more.
Yep, what's his name? Benjamin Franklin said, why increase the sons of Africa over here? We trying to make a white ethno state.
That's correct. That is correct. So this is what they were doing. So here, now this is also proof. These ain't African slaves. Where did they come from? From 1826 to 1850, from 1851 to 1875. Now, let's factor in the fact that the Caribbean, a lot of the Caribbean countries, I'm going to say in the Greater Antilles, let's just say Puerto Rico, Cuba, they didn't abolish slavery until the 1880s. Okay, so these very well could be them. This 476 number could be from those islands. Here, 1,850 people from 1826 to 1850. Definitely not coming in from Africa, but they're coming from somewhere. So with that being said, how in the fuck can you prove that these people here from all the previous years are from Africa coming into the United States? Stop the blood clot lying. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Are y'all getting what I'm talking about? Y'all getting what I'm talking about?
The Pan-Africans in the back still slow. They can't answer.
Halito, Brother Reggie, what's up, beloved? I'm just trying to understand what it is that what they really want from a nigga. What y'all want? You want
they know Africa, sister.
Fine, right? And then I got a problem with this because we know for a fact that they ate us 2 years ago, Ty, and you could tell me if I'm lying. When we first started clapping at Tone Talks and Yvette Carnell ass African, because we made them do what? Change their name to American descendants of slaves because we clapping at all that Africa.
Yeah, and then you had Tariq Nasheed and Jason Black and the Black Authority, Professor Black Truth, come out and say, oh, we're not ADOS, we're descendants of American slaves. See, we're still African.
Right. So now they changed.
And then you had Tariq Nasheed come out with that foundational Black American title and trademark that shit. And over here trying to sell old green juice and all this uhuru and Mzungu crap that these Negroes coming up with uhuru shit.
Right.
What they got to do with being Indians? They don't know nothing about these entities, these deities and stuff. If they're from the North America,
Right. Right. That's a very good point. So we had them changing their talking points. Now I was told you how well, maybe I didn't, but about a month ago, I go back to Twitter, and I followed Talib Kweli and a couple of other people. I used to be in the music industry, so I really kind of follow a lot of people that didn't do me dirty, that I don't have no bad blood with. There's certain elements of things that I liked about them, that I would, follow them on Twitter. And I really went to Twitter. I've been on Twitter since probably 2000, I don't know, 6 or 7 or something like that, but haven't really been going back and forth into it. But for political reasons and also to promote No Grandma Killers tour, I figured let me go back to Twitter and start to build up my base there again. So I go back to Twitter, and of course I still have the same people that I've been following for years. Talib Kweli is one of them. He goes into these knockdown dragouts with ADOS, and I'm telling you, they be dog walking that nigga. They dog walker. And I'm sitting here on the sidelines trying to tell him, like, my nigga, stop engaging, because they're going to keep busting your ass. I learned the fighting techniques from who? The Native Americans and the Pan-Africans. So this is how the American Indian is still undefeated. Because we got truth, we got proof, evidence, and facts. Something these motherfuckers lack. They got stories. That's it. So now here it is. ADOS is now on the Republican side. Now they're anti-Democrat. Stole another one of our talking points. They changed from African-American descendants of slaves to American descendants of slaves. Well, how the fuck are you American descendants of slaves if you're saying that you're African?
And talking this old green and stuff.
If you are an American that was here since the introduction of what they know as slavery, even in pre-colonial America, wouldn't you have been an Indian? Because you see what these numbers say.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They want to do that Beyonce Black is King crap.
I don't know why they having such a hard time when the fucking facts are in, and these bitches be trying to come for me like I have an identity crisis. But I know I can name all 32 of my fucking third great grandparents. All of them. I'm just having a hard time.
I found my relatives all the way back to the 1700s. I haven't seen anybody that was a slave. The closest thing is that I found on both my family side, they were both like Indian Negroes and mixed up with white folks, and like one Chinese person on my father's side.
Right. Miss Vicky said to adjust your mic, Tyrone.
Oh, okay.
Sounds a little scratchy. Thank you, Miss Vicky. How are you, beautiful sister? So, you're right about that, Renzo. They don't even know what the etymology of slave is. But, I'm sure at some point they will figure it out after they get mad at Moon. So hopefully I invited them over here, the same people in the comments, which I'm going to show the comments to the show that I was talking about that actually sparked this. And I'm going to, I'm answering some of those questions right now, but I'm going to just show you how fucking lost they are. And they think that they got some shit that is going to bring them fruit. And this isn't to diss anybody. I ain't even mad at you. I've been going through this for a long motherfucking time. These motherfuckers steal my grandparents' pictures, my family pictures, and they try to call me all sorts of Africans. They ain't no different than the fucking pilgrims.
Yeah, they do that same shit to me.
Right? No different. You motherfuckers are my oppressors, and this is why I fuck you up. But sometimes I be really feeling sorry for you dumb niggas. I really do be feeling sorry for you. Why y'all think y'all dogging me, and I'm sitting there like y'all motherfuckers putting yourself back to nowhere where you ain't gonna never come out of. These motherfuckers are lawyers and all this other shit, and they just smart fucking dummies. Proven fact. It's not my fault. So this is that. And I'm giving you bitches free game, but this is why I'm having a problem with that too. Because you motherfuckers have funded these bitches that been lying to you for a very long time. You've been money to tell you how black you is, because I'm black. You got dumb niggas, then you got the Hotep, Motep, Holiday Inns, and you got the Moors. You got all these niggas that talk all this shit, but can't nobody show you who you are. Please, I stay fucking consistent. When I came in this bitch, the first and last thing, and the reason why I be busting everybody motherfucking ass, because I bring the old people to the battle with me.
Yeah, and the man they love Henry Louis Gates. He had their slave owning ancestry. They
Right.
love that Henry Louis Gates. He was over there hiding Ben Affleck's ancestry.
Correct. He is a corrupt motherfucker, and Ben Affleck tried to make him and the producers make it go away that his family owned slaves.
Yeah, Korea put the kibosh on that shit. They opened it up in the Amy Pascal emails.
Yep. So this is the type of time these niggas is on. But you know, when you come, you better come correct, because I certainly am. I'm not going in front of no pilgrims with no sob ass story. I'm going in there with my rights, the proof, the truth, the evidence, and facts. And guess what I'm coming out of there with? Whatever the fuck it is I came to get in the first place. Whether it was my son with a felony, right?
Yeah.
Or somebody else's son with a felony, I go and gets them. Because 9 times out of 10, them motherfuckers break the law trying to prove that you broke a code. It ain't working with me. Now, go ahead and test that shit. I done brought down the town of Rotterdam, and I guess what? Are you his lawyer, ma'am? No, I'm his mother. Hey, everybody. Oh, is this for the judge? I got one for you. Hi, is such and such Mrs. Rivas here? Oh, hey. Yeah, I already did my research. Now I know exactly. You're not inviting me to no goddamn place, and I don't know. You know how tall I am, what color eyes I got, where I live at, last known address, and I don't know who this judge is. I don't know if he's supposed to be in this country. I don't know what the fuck, who none of these people are. I want to do my motherfucking research. You don't go to no goddamn party and don't know who all gonna be there, do you? Why would it be any different? Who's scared of these oppressors? Not Moon. I have more fear over skin folk motherfuckers calling me African and committing genocide and ethnicide on me than I do any motherfucking white man lynching me, any white cop shooting me, or any fucking other unreasonable cause for death.
And them Africans telling them to stop conifying my culture up with your soul culture, Negro.
Yeah, and then they expect us to be doing everything that the goddamn people in the Sioux do. First of all, New York, we call a sandwich a hero, okay? In Connecticut, which is right next door, you can walk from New York to Connecticut. They are called grinders. In Ohio and California, they're called torpedoes. So don't.
Louisiana is called po' boy.
As right. So don't tell me that us in a po' boy is a particular type of sandwich, and I only know that because I'm a cook. But the point is, when you have these subs, right, with the cold cuts and the lunch meat and shit like that, they're called different things in different places, right? They call the hoagie in Philly. You can walk to all these places from where they are prospectively, right? So if those are the differences, why in the fuck do they expect us to have the same language as the goddamn Pala Indians over in California? Why should we? Why would we? How does it make sense? We don't all have the same culture. We don't have the same culture as Louisiana and a whole bunch of Indians down there. That is a very different and distinct and unique culture, even right here in the confines of America.
They think that Creole and Pidgin lingua francas equals authentic West African languages.
Right.
Those aren't authentic African languages. We already told you that these people speak Sanskrit.
Yep. So they got problems, but I'm putting them up on game. So at this point, if you see ADOS getting strengthened, right, you'll see that they getting work from us. This is where they work come from. This is where their best information came from our camps. Not the Aboriginal camps, right? And don't include your homeboy DC, because that nigga's a plagiarizer and a pilferer. Go ahead and say I'm lying. I dare somebody that love that nigga tell me I'm a motherfucking liar. That's what I fucking thought. You feel how you feel, but the truth is gonna fucking set you free, whether you like it or not. And if I gotta keep fighting some of you motherfuckers just so you can have the truth spill, I'm okay with that too. I keep my distance from you. You ain't whipping my ass, and I ain't fucking afraid of you motherfuckers. How about that? Gotta say it like that. These niggas be getting violent. Fuck you, Phoenix, you African bitch. You just low self-esteem, you fucking hood bitch, you this, you that, and you this and that. All right, nigga, but I know who all my fucking 5th grade grandparents are.
They hate their grandmothers. They don't even talk to their own relatives. They don't talk to their cousins. They don't have any relationship with their own siblings. None of that. They're looking for somebody in Africa to come wipe their ass and wipe the snot off their nose and all that shit.
Shit is ridiculous. Ridiculous, yo. But I just need them to get their shit together. Get off Moon. Don't get mad at me. Save that shit. Save some of that aggression for these people in the courtrooms because you're going to fucking need it. When they sitting there looking at you like, oh, they got 5 fucking minutes to shoot their slavery shot spiel. They're going to give you 5 motherfucking minutes. You know how they do when you go, well, you don't got to go through that now. But back in the days when we did music and you went to Def Jam or Universal, you know, you'd have one of them Russell Simmons sitting there with the sunglasses on and shit. You can't see their eyes, very little body language indications of what it is that's happening. And if you can make them do this, then that means they want to talk. But if they still sitting here like this, looking at their phone or their two-way pager and they doing this and kept checking the fucking time, they not really trying to hear what you're going to say. And whenever you done with your fucking spiel, you're going to get flatlined and curbed like the niggas used to get. Yeah, you getting no goddamn win. This is the fucking W. Grandma gonna bring the goddamn W home for the people of color, right? But you gotta stop giving that shit away to everybody else. Niggas give away all of our shit. I'm sick of it. The cornbread is ours. The fucking potato salad is ours. God damn it, corn rolls is ours.
They gave away our soul culture to these foreigners.
Fufu is
the
ours.
Native Americans pimping our hip hop.
Facts. Facts. Fufu's ours. Fufu belongs
out. Cassava. That goes in the West Indies.
These niggas, I just be sick of them. I just wish them well. I wish them well. Hope they get it together, but they're gonna stay out moon fucking way. Just stay out my way, because we American Indians are in our own lane. It ain't got nothing to do with them. No Native Americans. It ain't got nothing to do with the Pan-Fives. It ain't got nothing to do with that. And the only instance where it will have something to do with the Native Americans, right, is when we are going to have talks with the people that we are kin to, because a lot of them are federally recognized. For instance, I think it was one of the Atkins family in the Chickahominy. We got the same motherfucking grandmother. Pleasant Atkins, Tazewell Atkins, they were active chiefs. Those are my fucking family members. I'm not federally recognized. Do that make me any less Indian? No. What it does is not make me a Native American in that regard that they're fucking thinking. But anybody,
all these Pan-Africans see is the part where it says freedmen, and they assume that's an African adopted into the tribe. But if they were adopting and enslaving Africans, wouldn't you start seeing shit that's on my profile, like people dressed in African garb,
right,
eating African food at the powwow, making African weapons like the Kapinga throwing knife or some shit like that, or African architecture over here?
Right.
Come on now.
Right.
We see shit like that.
Now, there's also an issue. Right? And the issue is going to be, not only is it going to be the burden of proof, but who's going to be the speaker? Is it going to be Tone Talks? Is it going to be Yvette Carnell? And these motherfuckers ain't got no goddamn access to their 5th grade grandparents. So the blind leading the fucking blind, right?
They need to fucking step down, because they don't have all this. They don't have nothing.
I'm saying that to strengthen them, not to take away. Don't get it twisted. I use sarcasm and metaphors and shit like that. When I'm ready to buck a shot at somebody, I will directly drag them. I don't got no problems with that. I don't hold my fucking tongue when I feel some type of way. So when I'm talking, they don't need to take everything I'm saying literally, unless I'm like, listen, when I get to the next snapping and all of that, that's, But I said that to say, not that they aren't qualified, but what I am saying is they don't have the fucking facts that's necessary to do what it is that they got all these people that's following them thinking that it's possible to do. So what happens? We want reparations. You got a bunch of angry niggas waiting on a check that ain't never gonna fucking come.
It's not. And then you got people like trying to make up the mathematics and going lowball with the stuff that they don't even know how to haggle anything.
Yeah. So now you got this 305,326 slaves, period. Whether it includes Africans or excludes them, only 305,000 people came into the United States as slaves, but there were 10, 20 million slaves. So who are the people? Who the fuck?
Indian. Like,
if it ain't Africans, if it ain't people, foreign imports from other countries, who were the people in your neighborhood? Shit don't make no goddamn sense. Don't make no sense. Got all this shit going on. They fucking with the wrong people, the wrong goddamn deities, and those ain't your fucking ancestors. They're not.
We don't know nothing about no Orishas.
Man, listen. Voodoo is American. Let's get to that. Let's stick with
Yeah,
that.
they clump in juju and ethers into voodoo. The only reason why they like that shit is because they got some similar deities in Latin America.
Yes. Yes, that is correct. So let me let me get to some of these comments here. These people was talking cash money shit. Cash money. They was talking cash money shit about more. And again, shout out to the brother Kobie Smith. His delivery was great. And you know, he was very respectful, even in the comments. And he didn't even need to defend me. He just defended the position of hearing different information for a different perspective outside of what it is that they want. And there's absolutely nothing the fuck wrong with that. But then you got the people that just hate Moon, right? For whatever reason. Not because I told him a lie, not because I stole some shit from him or did him fucked up or sold him some bullshit ass status correction fucking paperwork, right? So there's one motherfucker in there that says, how about you have like Dane Calloway or somebody else come in? Would that fucking plagiarizer so what he could steal our fucking talking points?
Yeah.
And still not bring the shit home for you motherfuckers? Do he do breakdowns like this? Absolutely fucking not. He does not. He does not. But he's just here to make you think. Make you think he wrote them talking points that he fucking stole from us and been stealing from us for the last 5 fucking years.
And what I know about him, he was tight with HEMOC a long time ago, right?
Oh, yes, he was. And he's still tight with Colinago. I got it on tape. I motherfucker can't take it back. Colinago, a known goddamn thief. And I got fucking attacked by all the fucking scammers and all the bitches and bitch ass niggas that was housing these people that was actively stealing from elders. They stealing your grandma that you won't look up. Stealing, trying to get access to the land that your dumb ass don't even know you got. Yeah, shit like that. So if they mad at Moon for that, I don't give a fuck. But if you love Dan Calloway and the rest of them fucking niggas that was protecting and gave them goddamn scammers a goddamn blanket for cover, then fuck you. I am mad at you. Yes, I am. You're a fucking killer. You ain't no different than any other fucking oppressor. Yes. Give a fuck. Ain't nothing cool about that shit. Nothing cool about that. You could be mad at me for the right fucking reasons, but you'll love these motherfuckers for everything wrong. Fuck out of here. You like it, I love it, nigga. You keep getting your head bust. I'm not bandaging none of you motherfuckers up. I done gave you the spiel. I done pointed out all of the fucking technology. Even within our community, I'll tell you how the white people try to fuck you up, and I'll tell you how these skin folk try to fuck you up. I ain't singing Kumbaya with all of them, because all of them ain't fucking Indians. Facts of life. Facts of life. So let me get to these comments where these people was going bananas. They was going, they still talking shit. Still talking shit. They won't come. I dropped the link over here, but won't none of them hoes come. Okay, so
I guess they report to the Native Americans with our information.
Oh, you can guarantee they do. But the Native Americans got to sit down and be quiet because they can't even talk about where they fucking folks was from. Ain't no nigga.
They can't even tell you about their own slavery. That's the thing.
New Mexico know what was happening in Virginia because they wasn't there. So when they say in Native Americans, they're picturing the people west of the Mississippi that look like Tonto from the Lone Ranger and look like Sitting Bull and Geronimo. They're not thinking about Pocahontas, right? With the chocolatey skin and the fucking hair. They're not thinking about that. That shit is completely escaped them. Now all of a sudden we got African phenotypes. Bitch, a Russian and a German, you can't make no distinction between a Russian and a goddamn German, but a Russian is Asian.
They ain't even got like narratives of seeing these first Africans coming off the ship. You know how they starting to spew hatred towards us? They don't even have their own original bywords for us. Like if Native Americans on the East Coast saw some Africans, wouldn't they, like, if they were taking part in enslaving Africans, wouldn't they come up with their own racial slurs for us in their own language?
Absolutely. 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 Hold on one second. Let me get to some of these comments of these angry birdies, right? And they act like they sitting there with the winning fucking ticket, talking about ADOS this and ADOS that, happy ass slaves. These are the happiest bunch of angry motherfucking slaves. We not African, but the motherland's Africa, but we ain't African. We American descendants of slaves.
Man.
This shit is fucking bananas.
Yeah.
This shit is bananas. Ionized Cody. Well, I'm not going to talk shit about Elizabeth Warren. You know why? Because of course her DNA is going to say that it's European, because nobody comes from America. But if she heard that her grandma told her that she had Indian in her family, who the fuck are we to tell Elizabeth Warren? That's hypocritical and that's bullshit. And this is why I mean our people want shit that they're not willing to give. You want freedom, you want liberty, you want truth, you want justice and balance, but we ain't willing to give it. Why would
Same
we
with Johnny Depp.
when
Johnny Depp
told us that we had Indian in our family and we fighting skin folk who grandmothers told them the same thing. They calling grandma a liar, saying she got raped, saying she ain't Indian, she fucking African. Now they saying Elizabeth Warren's a liar, she ain't Indian, she European. It's the same shit in reverse. So I don't think it's fair with her. I don't take shots at her because she can't prove it. And listen, they did not want anybody to be fucking Indians in the first place. Look at that Walter Plecker letter where he got this, they got this whole Racial Integrity Act of 1924 passed under the basis that they thought that our people wanted to be classified as white, which was a fucking lie. So he targeted all of these fucking families in all these different goddamn counties. They established the Health and Vital Statistics Department in order to perpetuate this shit in the 1900s. This ain't happened 300 years ago. This happened in the fucking 1900s when niggas' grandparents was alive, right?
And
so
that's the incel in them.
Between 1912 and 1946, when that bitch Walter Plecker got hit by a fucking truck, these are the things that were happening. It is on congressional record of all the families that he targeted. Out of 100 names, 30 of them belong to my kin in those counties. Okay? So what the fuck are these niggas talking about? Right? Now, not only did Walter Plecker do that, he was responsible for that, but at the bottom of this letter, where he's sending the intra-departmental correspondence, he says, yeah, they're trying to pass for whiteness, this, that, and the other, but yeah, they really all just rather be called Indian. Nobody caught that? Nobody caught that? For real?
You dealing with a bunch of incels back then. Trying to dick police you with your own genealogy.
Facts. So we're gonna go through some of these comments and stuff like that. I didn't want to make this no long dragged out thing. But you know, I love you guys. And even the motherfuckers that don't love me, I'm gonna tell you what, y'all gonna be okay. You're gonna be all right. It's good. I feel like the fucking mother that's trying to get these little badass kids to eat some goddamn broccoli. It's good for you, baby. You won't know it's good for you until you get older and have your own fucking kids. That's how I feel with these niggas. They act like sons and daughters. Codependent. You were supposed to be self-governing people, and this is why this mess has been going on so long, because we forgot that we supposed to be in charge. Black power, when, nigga? You don't think you in charge of nothing? You talking about white supremacy? How the fuck you got black power? What is black power supposed to do besides put you in total goddamn darkness?
Bleach them out. That's what it means.
Dude, I'm just
bleach power.
So look at this shit. Let's get to these little salty ass comments, man. These niggas mad. Love you too, Tiffany, baby. How you doing today, sister? What's up, Bones? What's up, beloved brother? These niggas was coming for me. So, of course, I didn't say this, but look, there's some little bullet points here. And you can check this brother out. He was a very nice guy. I have no qualms or issues with him. I actually appreciated his journalism. I was certainly, and he did edit the video, so I don't really remember what was taken out. I almost forgot about it. I woke up, and when I got the message, I woke up and I needed a few minutes, you know, to go freshen up and stuff like that. I just woke up out of a nap, and you know, I don't get to nap often, and it was like 1,001 degrees outside, and I, you know, whatever. So as I did this interview, I was probably up. I went and you know, freshened up a little bit, and then I came back 10 minutes later and did the video. So, you know, they had their little criticisms and shit, but he did edit it, but he posted it last night. And boy, oh boy, my sister been dragging and going in one of these comments with these people. So this is what we wake up to today. He says that at 2727, Phoenix Moon says that 80% of Black Americans have American Indian lineage. I'm going to stick by that. And I'm not talking about the people that got here in 1965. I'm talking about the motherfuckers that was here before that Immigration Act, where now you have your Africans coming into America, being able to be enter into the colleges and stuff like that our folks couldn't even get to, because these are the things that they had to do to keep the American Negro down, right? They had to bring them in the 1960s. And what happened? It worked, because 1968, we got Indian civil rights. By July of Martin Luther King died April of 1968. The Civil Rights Act was April 11th of 1968. Then here come the now known Native Americans in July of 1968. They started AIM, right?
Yeah, they got that off of our organizations when Negroes were calling themselves black.
They started AIM after the Civil Rights Law got passed. That shit don't seem strange to nobody.
Yeah, they didn't even show up to Dr. King or Medgar Evers meetings.
Right. They don't want to talk about that though. They don't want to talk about that. So now, here we go. You got AIM in July. And by the end of 1968, you got Kwanzaa. What's his name? Kamini, the one that raped and mutilated women of color. He created Kwanzaa, right? Made this shit up.
Oh, what's his name? Karanga? Milana Karanga?
There you go. There you go. Thank you. That's his name. That's the son of a bitch. They celebrate him. And they spent the next couple of years. And you got Black Panthers, Black Power. So the Indian faded into obscurity then. Then after they kill Martin Luther King, the value of the money goes down. Everybody's impoverished all over again. And they take away the silver certificates, right? And then they talk all this shit. But who's trying to bring back the different standard, which the traditional currency of the United States is supposed to be gold and silver? Donald Trump. That's another story. They're going to stop trying to dog walk the man that's restoring the shit that we never got a chance to touch from the fucking first Civil Rights Act in 1866 all the way up until now. So that's that. So,
and the reason why they put that memorandum 46 with what's his name, Jimmy Carter, that contradicted what we was doing with Lyndon B. Johnson. He wrote in the law American Indian.
Right. Okay, so here's some of the comments. You have somebody that says facts. Oh, this is you, Aboriginal One. What's up? And he in the chat now. It says she's not lying, right? So is that comment? If that theory bears
what you doing going all the way?
What'd you say?
They're messing with the communists.
You gotta go back. You kind of went out a little bit. What'd you say?
What, me?
Yeah. You had went out a little bit. I didn't hear what you said.
What I said was that doesn't it contradicts the American Indian Act that Lyndon B. Johnson signed into law where you had Jimmy Carter write that memorandum 46?
Yes.
Why would Negroes after Lyndon B. Johnson wrote in the law that you're American Indian and your rights had to be protected under American Indian civil rights? Why in the heck would you go over there and team up with the communists and the Africans like that? That's why they wrote that memorandum 46. Because you're contradicting your own fucking laws that you wanted to be put on the books.
That's right. And then they got a president after Nixon left. The Native Americans got a president because that is when they started doing the federal recognition process. Again, shutting us out. They did this in a small window because you know why? And let me tell you something, niggas, you could talk shit about the churches and all the shit you want, right? But this is why you got to give them a pass. Because as Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott and all of the people in the civil rights movement, all of the Negro Indian people that were in the civil rights movement that were creating this fire, that had the politicians in Atlanta. They had politicians in Atlanta in certain places that rocked the vote. And this is how they were able to get some of these things overturned, right? You got your Brown versus Board of Education. That was also a Civil Rights Act. You have voters registration, a Civil Rights Act. Rights of Indians. 1968, a Civil Rights Act. Every last one of them say Indians from 1866.
But these Negroes wanted better treatment with foreigners overseas than right here getting their own fucking land back.
Right. Now, the issue is the thing about the churches, it says, if you look up the legal definition, it says any of the original peoples of the Americas, including North, South, and Central America, which consists of a tribe, community, or organization. Isn't the NAACP an organization? Weren't those churches a community, an organization? The civil rights, isn't the American Indian a community? Since we're practicing history, culture, tradition, language. Are we not acting as a tribe now? Why these bitches think we ain't got no nation inside of a nation? They better figure it out. They better figure it out. And this is why we had to do a separation, not to cause any fucking division, but yes, to divide the motherfucking truth versus the fucking fluke. And the fluke It's Aborigines not having solid shit that is going to stand up in a court of law. Who got fucking time to waste worried about the pyramids? I ain't saying the shit ain't important, but these bitches is sitting on their living room couch or sitting on their dirty ass phone inside their stinky ass car, popping all this shit like they all the fucking scholars in the world, and the bitch ain't took one trip. Ain't left the motherfucking hood where they stand. They ain't been looking at no goddamn rocks. They don't know the difference between Ignatius, Magna, and all that other shit. These niggas ain't got no goddamn scientific data on shit. Sitting there comparing fucking pictures and shit. Talking about God, these pyramids is older than the ones in Egypt and all. Yeah, all that shit is true, but which one of your grandparents built it? No, you can't prove it. All right, leave this shit alone then. Go back to it later after we got fucking work to do.
Yeah. They don't even look at the mountains that's in their backyard. They don't even look at the animals. They don't look at the forest, the national forest that we got in our backyards. They too busy looking at Egypt, and they looking at the African blood diamonds and the gold and the lithium and the oil, right, all that shit over there that bleeding they ain't gonna get.
Niggas got bleeding rocks and all this shit, talking about Bigfoot and fucking Sasquatch and all this other shit. Like that shit, you gonna bring that shit up in a court of law? When I used to trying to get reparations, you know Bigfoot is American too, Your Honor. What the fuck? These niggas is out of control. So, again, you got these angry people, and I left it open. I dropped the link over there.
How you gonna go to the court with Mensa Abu Bakr II? How does he have jurisdiction with your own genealogy?
Ridiculous. It is the most ridiculous shit ever. It's just really sad. We probably gonna have the part 2. Tamo, you gonna come back a little later because I do gotta go take care of something.
Yeah, I'll be back.
We definitely could chop this up later, and I'm gonna go through some of these comments. I'm gonna give them a chance to get their shit all good and fired up because I know they know I'm talking shit about them right now, and I ain't even get to them yet. I just was breaking down some of these points that these bitches missed. So in the interim, they'll be able to go back to this video and blow my picture up nice and big so they can throw I hate Phoenix darts at it. Boom, I hate her. Look, hit her nose. Hit her crooked too. I hate her. Put my picture on the fucking wall so you can just throw your little goddamn darts at it and shit like that. That's what they like.
They gonna get their day of reckoning.
Right. That's right, dear Square L. They don't have they're not really doing well with that. They're not taking the truth well. They're not, maybe it's just me. Maybe they're just not pleased with hearing a woman, be assertive and know what the fuck she's talking about without, being told by somebody else what to say. I don't know what it is. I really don't have time to figure it out. It's not going to stop me from doing what I want to do for my people. And we haven't yet to identify all of them because everybody didn't do their genealogy. So this is why I tell people there's a lot of us, a good number of us that can absolutely got this shit licked. You need to get your shit together so that we can prove our relativity because you stand with us and we stand together. We have a legitimate beef that can't nobody take from us, can't nobody touch. They can't say it's not true. It absolutely happened. And it's the hidden thing that's beyond the surface that's going to get us paid. And in the interim, there's so many. There's the nano, there's the micro, and then there's the macro. And within those 3 criterions, you would be safe in your neighborhood, free from serfdom and all types of oppression that you have in your own community. Then on the next level, it's the micro. On the micro level, it's a community, a group of you that feel the same way, want the same thing, got the same beef, the same grievances, gripes, and concerns. That's the micro. You can start suing these people and you can cash out from that. And as you're cashing those checks and taking care of everything you need to take care of, you're no longer worried about that. Now you have a lot of chance to do your advanced studies on yourself. And in between that, we are formulating to get the macro. Not where ADOS is going straight for the macro. They want reparations for the whole 400 years of unknown shit because they don't know who the fuck they people are, what the fuck their people was doing for 400 years. That's a macro clusterfuck.
And with descendants of American slaves, all they want is just some billboards and scamming people with documentaries.
Unbelievable.
And green packages.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And then you're gonna have to go back on that 1804 too, because the Haitian Revolution couldn't have happened unless they was here in America first. And that's exactly what happened. And we got proof of that. And I dare these niggas to come for me. Haiti learned their guerrilla warfare tactics, and actually they were prompted by US military officials to go and colonize Haiti. Deep into that. It wasn't just Liberia, and it wasn't just Sierra Leone. They sent a lot of American Indians into Haiti. It wasn't until 1987 when they ousted Duvalier that they changed the fucking constitution and put African descent, no, African heritage. African heritage, not because the people were African of Haiti, because the Africans that came into Haiti are now in control. We'll talk about that. I'll tell you.
And also, those black people that landed in Liberia and Sierra Leone, they weren't welcome. They was brought with spears and swords and bows and shit when they landed over there in Liberia. Facts. They said, "What are you doing over here, bringing your American ways over here, changing our culture?"
And you know what they had to do? They had to spend their stipends, the money that they got for leaving the U.S. And this is why the U.S. bailed out on their ass and left the ACS to hold the fucking bag. The ACS is now dissolved. You can't sue them bitches. They dropped their liability back in the late 1800s, early 1900s after, I'm pretty sure, I would say is around the time Marcus Garvey fucking failed. Shout out to J. Edgar Hoover, because my whole academic career as a child, I couldn't stand that motherfucker because he did this to the Black Panthers. He did this to the... That motherfucker saved the goddamn Indian. Questions that we had wrong impressions about all these people that they said were great, like Marcus Garvey, and he was a piece of shit. Then you got the people that they didn't give the credit to, and they was the actual fucking heroes. We got a problem.
W.E.B. Du Bois and the Talented Tip caught on his ass.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to come back to some of these comments. Tyrone said he'll come back later. We definitely going to do that. We'll get back to you guys. Let me go take care of these couple things I got to take care of. And we'll certainly be back. I'm glad y'all got to come and sit down and chop it up with us. I did put those links in the comment section, so you can also go back and refer to it and look at it at your leisure. It would behoove you to start your family tree. If you have any living elders, please go talk to them. I don't care if it's grandma's third cousin. She remembers some people. You want to get that information, whether it makes sense or not. When you're talking to your elders, don't go hard talking about, are we Indian, are we Indian, are we Indian? Let them just talk. Let them just talk, because keep in mind, a lot of them were told that they could not say that. They were told not to talk about it. They were very mum's the word, very secretish. A lot of them left the South, and they didn't bring any of the things that happened in the South with them when they migrated to the other places, right? So go back as far as you can go. Start with yourself. Start with your siblings. Start with your living relatives, and then work yourself backwards. Work yourself backwards and go as far as you go. You can go. But other than that, I want you guys to have a fantastic afternoon. We will be back this later on this evening. Maybe about 5, 6 o'clock or something like that, so you can have something to listen to while everybody's on their way home from work. So we'll get to that. Tyrone said he'll come back. We'll be back a little later, and we can do part 2 to this, and we're going to teach a little more. Much love to you too, beloved cousin. Donnie, hi, baby. I love you, cuz. The rest of you guys, have a great day. Keep well, keep safe, love, peace, and bear grease. Absorbent amounts of bear grease. You don't want to be ashy. Mwah.